for almost 15 minutes now. So we will rejoin at 12 for technical session 2. Thank you, everyone. Let me just ask my team to start with the recording. All right. So the reviewers of this session are Mr. Surinder Singh, Assistant Professor, Education, Universal College of Education, Lardu District, Mohali. Mr. Surinder Singh, Assistant Professor, Political Science, GLN Government College, Haripur, Manali. Ms. Neha Kharbanda, Research Scholar, Department of Commerce, Punjabi University, Patiala. And our speaker of this session is Ms. Namrata Singhania. Let me briefly introduce her to you. Ms. Namrata Singhania is Director of Nirdosh School for Mentally Challenged Children in Ludhiana, Punjab. Before that, she has held the positions of President, District Chairman of Inner Wheel District, Joint Secretary and Executive Member of FICCI Ladies Organization, HR Executive in Apollo Hospital, President, Joint Secretary, Executive Member of Lakshmi Ladies Club. In all these positions, she contributed immensely towards the upliftment and betterment of women. Ms. Singhania is a strong leader with a broad experience in directing several organizations and is well recognized for the social welfare projects undertaken. As an entrepreneur, she started 2 enterprises, Sparsh Designer Home Linen in 1999 and Prakrit Creations in 2006. She has done executive program for women entrepreneurs in 2012 from Indian School of Business, and before that she did her master's in finance and control from Punjab University, Chandigarh. She has organized a number of medical camps and works progressively towards creating awareness regarding breast cancer. Her other social work includes organizing welfare projects like environmental projects, rainwater harvesting project, anti-plastic drive, marriage of needy girls, literacy missions, providing vocational training to women, and much more. So I now welcome you, ma'am, and request you to start with the session. Over to you.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I was muted.
Thank you so much for that awesome introduction. It's an honor to be here on this panel, to be there with so many learned people over here. And as I'm told, they are mostly from the faculty. So with the profile that Ms. Meenakshi has introduced me, I think I just gave it a moment to think about it. With so much of multi-diversity of tasks, I thought this will be a very befitting topic for me. So I just grabbed it once I got the opportunity to speak on time management. So let this be a little interactive session with all of you. May I request you, if you can, just click on your video so it becomes easier for me to connect with you for this session. So if you have any queries, any questions, you can interrupt in between, or we take up the questions a little later. So time management. What do you understand by time? Once we think, we all have grown up hearing these proverbs: time is precious, a stitch in time saves 9, and time and tide wait for none. Now we actually realize that once we are into so much of things, so many things to do, the list of our job seems endless, and we always wish that there should be more than 24 hours in a day. Have you realized that out of these 24 hours, nearly 8 hours, 1/3 of the time we spend on sleeping, and rest 2/3 of the time is the time that is available to us for work, and that is the time we generally trade for some financial gains. Work means financial gains for us, because Everything we value ourselves is in time of money. But have you realized that things that are important, that are beyond these financial gains, we need time to spend on knowledge, skills, acquiring certain skills, relationships, building up reputations, building up relations with our team members, the people around us, building up our goodwill. So all these also require time. If you realize we have a lot of time in our hand, we have lots of gadgets today to help us. We have a dishwasher. I think that's the lockdown thing that has brought us in. Dishwasher has been brought in every home. We have the washing machines. If you see the time of our grandparents and maybe parents to some extent, they used to do all this work manually. Our grandparents, they didn't even have things like a mixer grinder. But we do all these, but they never complained about time. You could not hear them saying that. But we do. We do it all the time in spite of having so much of time. Have you realized it? Why? Have you ever realized it? In spite of having help, the servants, the maid, still we say we are not having any time. If you think about it, I think it is the flexibility of time that we have. It is the more of I time that is available. Now we can do shopping on Amazon, Flipkart, Big Basket, even at night. We can see our favorite shows, the TV shows, the movies at any time of the day we want. We don't need to go to a theater 12 se 3 and 3 to 6 for the shows. So time is a resource. If you think, what is the nature of time, it's a resource. It's just like you're putting, say, about 1440 minutes in your bank. It's like if you have so much amount of money, 86,400 seconds in your bank, and you are told you have to use this money today itself, and by the end of the day, this is going to go waste. How is it like? You will try to run faster, you will try to spend money on this, money on this. Same is the thing with time. We all have 24 hours, the time that we can use during one day and makes maximum use of it. So now, why would you like to manage time? To be more efficient, to be more functional. But it's very different with different people. Some say it's a waste of time. But wasting of time, say maybe if I'm surfing the net for certain topic, it might be waste of time for my mom, who will say you better spend time on doing something else. But I know I'm using that time to prepare for my class or adding on to my knowledge. For me, my mother spending too much time on finely chopping the vegetables is a waste of time. I would say moti moti kaat do and make that vegetable so it serves the equal purpose. So it's a matter of the alignment of a person, how it is important for you. So for us, I'm just trying to share the screen, some presentation with you. For us, time used to be very scarce with us before lockdown. We all used to be rushing for time. We wanted to manage so many things, and we always used to complain going to work, managing the home, managing the children. For men, also managing so many outdoor activities. So we used to say our 9 to 5 job is there, so we just don't have time, and the remaining time we have to manage everything, squeeze in everything. But this extended national lockdown has thrown our life off balance. We are starting to learn a new system. We are just running around, having no time to relax. And there are no timings for any particular timings for anything. Earlier, we would stress about managing too many things in a limited time, and time management was about getting all things done and in a day and meeting all the ridiculous deadlines and in between. But we used to manage time for coffee, time for restroom breaks, and we would spend leisure time with family and friends. There used to be a weekend, the Sunday, when we had an outing, but all this went haywire during lockdown. And we used to feel that with lockdown, we'll be home, we will have more time. This poor management skills has led to work-life boundaries, a blurred work-life boundaries. We don't know when to end our day. The work continues, the office continues all day long. And work seems to spread across time. You end up pulling an all-nighter every day to meet the demand of overwhelming amounts of work, which are not only unhealthy, but also leaves no room for your personal life to breathe in. People often talk about work-life balance, but I find sometimes this is nonsensical. Work is only a part of life. It is not separate from life. We are never going to achieve and sustain a perfect combination. Life happens, time flows. We sometimes become a slave of time. Boundaries are different from barriers. Boundaries establish a parameter, but you can still let people in and be flexible. But barriers define no go areas, they are walls of blockage. So, healthy relationships use boundaries to make expectations clear. So, time management is all about expectation with time. Poor time management leads to burnout. With no control over time, work will take over your personal life before you even realize it. It will consume all your time and energy, and you will end up piling and carrying forward more and work to next day. Things will spiral out of control. You will feel helpless and stressed out, as many of we are feeling in this lockdown. But believe me, time management is the most rewarding skill that we can learn during lockdown. So, managing our work amidst all interruptions and distractions can be challenging sometimes. But trust me, managing too much time with less organized structure is an uphill struggle at home. Managing in both aspects, professional or personal, lets you consciously leverage and control time on different things that you do all day long. While work from home has given us a lot of time at our disposal, it has also contributed to utter chaos in our normal routine. It comes with its own distractions. So the main thing is time is a valuable currency. It cannot be created nor destroyed. It cannot be hoarded. It cannot be purchased back. Sometimes we get to be controlled by time. How and what we spend our time on determines who we are, and it alters our future. And what we make our future is what our focus grows on. So whatever we focus on helps us mold our future. Now, what is time management? The definition says it is the process of organizing and planning how to divide your time between specific activities. It simply means working smarter, not harder, so that you get more done in less time, even when time is tight and pressures are high, to increase productivity. Failing to manage your time damages your effectiveness and causes stress. It seems that there is never enough time of the day. But since we all get same 24 hours, Why is it that some people achieve so much more in the same time than the other? Why is it some of us are just managing taking classes, giving classes to children, students, but there are others who are looking after so many other tasks? They are into administrative processes of the university. They are writing papers. Some of them are composing new items. Some of them are involved in maybe things like the students festival. Some are very creative in spite of being knowledgeable, and there are many of us who are able to pursue our education also further. The highest achievers manage their time exceptionally well. By using time management techniques, you can improve your ability to function more effectively even when the time is less. Good time management requires an important shift from focus to activities to results. Spending your day in a frenzy of activity often achieves less because you are dividing your attention between so many different tasks. Good time management lets you work smarter, not harder, so you get more things done in less time. Now the question arises is, why time management? For greater productivity and efficiency, better reputation, less stress, probability of progress, greater opportunities to achieve life and career goals. Does that seem okay with you?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Why not time management? What if you don't manage your time effectively? Doesn't matter, you're going with the flow. So we are living a life, we are time flows, the day passes by, but that we have seen how we manage our time. But if we don't manage our time effectively, we have missed deadlines, inefficient workflow, poor quality of work, poor professional reputation. We have greater stress levels, thereby much greater anxiety, and you know that is the causes of all diseases today. Poor work life balance. We don't know when to manage our family, our personal life, and how to manage our work. And a stalled career. We don't rise. We are stable. We are there only. We are stuck there. So now, how can we manage our time? There are few skills that can help us to uh, manage our time. One thing, take a minute to just think about it. What are you doing the whole day long? How much time are you spending on each activity? If you have a pen and paper, just write it down. What is the majority of your time you are doing? Maybe your own morning tasks, morning routine you have, and then your breakfast. Then you are spending maybe a lot of time on breakfast. Earlier, when you used to go to the college or university, you used to have a hurried breakfast, or you used to carry it along. Now you are sitting there for an hour with the newspaper. What do you do in the evening? So this will tell you what is the time, where are you spending so much of time, and the same time, now that you're at home also, you are saving on your commuting time, but still you are not being efficient. So there are certain techniques that can help us to manage our time well. I have just compiled few techniques. Get organized, prioritization, goal setting, scheduling, managing interruptions, effective communication, and use of technology, thereby helping us to get efficient. So we will take them one by one in short brief. I hope this is not seeming very heavy to you.
No, ma'am, it's interesting.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so we take this one by one. Small little tips, getting organized. Getting organized, there are two parts to it. One is everything in its place, and one is preparation. So one thing is declutter. There is make place for everything. Develop the habit of using the same place for your keys, your books, equipment, clothes, files, and anything. Everything should be in its place. We have the habit of coming back and throwing everything at one place, maybe on the bed or entering wherever. So it's better when you enter, you keep everything wherever it is required. The important papers should go on your desk. The keys should be on the board, books in its place, so that there is nothing that is haphazard. Whenever you want a particular thing, you don't end up wasting time searching for that thing. Automatically you know where it is. And the second part is preparation or setting up. So before you begin any task, make sure that you have everything you need that is ready. Suppose you need to have an online class, you should know that the things are in place. Whatever the books you need, it should be there on your table. And you need to plan ahead and be prepared. So this helps you wasting less time and improves your efficiency by leaps and bounds. Be a little surgical about this approach. See, if a surgeon walked into a surgery and none of the instruments were available, they were not ready, how would she do that? Everything needs to be organized. Instruments need to be in their proper place. They need to be sanitized. And if you have seen, if you have any doctor friend, they have a tray or a trolley where everything, there is a place for everything, so that they don't need to search even on that tray because there are no seconds. So that is about getting organized. Next is prioritization. Rank your tasks, make the best use of your time and resources. Without it, you may work very hard, but you will not be able to achieve the results you desire because what you are working on is not of strategic importance. So you develop the habit of making a to-do list. Consider the value of the task before you do it. Every morning when you get up, or maybe when the day ends, make a task list, what you have to do tomorrow, or in the morning. It might seem worthless, you are wasting time. As it is, you're just in time and you're already getting late, and on top of it, you have to make a task list. But believe me, that helps you a lot. Have your things done, noted down with a pen and paper, what you have to do today, and as you complete, keep ticking it. That gives you sense of achievement also, and you feel much confident and better with that time. And it is not only the task list, just do it when you want to do like the important thing first. Just give them numbers when you list them down: first, second, third, fourth. So that will help you to completing your major tasks first. There are 4 Ds of time management, what we call. They help you to make these daily to-do list. They help you to place your tasks which are important, not important. And see, if we make a matrix, on one side we write urgent and not urgent, and important and not important on the y-axis. So if you take the first quadrant, it is urgent and important. Like you have some medical emergencies, you have a deadline drawing near. That task is very important and urgent to do it right now. There are things that are not urgent but important to do, which you can really postpone, or you can schedule them when you want to do it on which day. So things like paying your bills, they are very important, but it is not important to just do it now. The third quadrant says urgent but not important. There might be certain things, um, like it is urgent to call up somebody, but it is not urgent that you have to do it now. Maybe a courtesy call to somebody, some relative who has lost a near or dear ones. Maybe if not now, you can do it in the evening. There are certain emails that you need to reply to, certain letters that you need to write. So you can, or maybe you can delegate it to someone else. Say, there are some tasks at your work which don't require special of your skills. Maybe your junior or somebody else can do it on your behalf. So just have the habit of delegating it. And there are certain tasks which are not urgent and not important. So it is okay if you do them. It is okay if you don't do them. Say maybe watching movies. So maybe you can delay them. It's not important. Whenever you have time, you can do them. So this is called as Eisenhower's matrix also, and maybe we call them it Covey's metric also. It is a method where tasks are categorized into different quadrants based on their importance and urgency. You can make a list to complete the rest of the tasks otherwise. Now, the next is goal setting. Goal setting is very important because you keep walking. You don't have a direction if you don't have a goal. Maybe you are on a crossroads and you just start walking aimlessly. But if you have a goal in mind that, yes, I want to reach so and so college, you will take only that road. So all your actions will be aligned to that same things. So to manage your time effectively, you need to inspire yourself and discover what is that motivates you. When you know where you're going, you can figure out what exactly needs to be done in what order. Otherwise, you'll fritter your time away. Setting crystal clear goals will give structure to your work schedule, and you will be better prepared to take charge of your goal. Set short-term and long-term goals. Focus on your goal. Don't look at any other direction, but to look straight ahead. And break up your big lifetime goals into smaller goals. So that way it'll be easier to plan them. And use a calendar. With the to-do list you have, that is for a everyday thing. But use a calendar. You should write down that by the end of this month, I want to reach here. I want to complete this task by this time. Okay, one major mistake that we do by using a calendar is that we always have a date marked that this is the deadline or by this time I have to complete, but we never know when to start that. We have never marked that date. So if you have a project in hand, you know the deadline is say one from now, and you need about 15 days to do it. So you should mark it, say if the date is 30th to end that project, so you should be completing it by 28th. So just mark about 15 to 17 days, taking a little buffer that this is the date when you should start it. So when you update your list or your calendar on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, you are able to judge your performance. You know where you are lacking, where you need to be faster. You are able to judge your performance. Use SMART goals technique. Resource shows that when we write down our goals, we are more likely to achieve them. I'm stressing on writing down everything again and again because these days we have so much in our head here, so much our mind is busy that we get lost in so many things. Another thing, when we write down, the psychologists say it reaffirms, you are sure, and you can fall back upon this thing. You know you will remember this. This is not a thing to be forgotten, but over time we tend to forget. So write down your goals, and while planning your goals, you can also use a vision board because it often shows it to you. Often use the technique of SMART goals. They are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound goals. Sometimes we set goals which are just not achievable. See, I want to become a millionaire by this end. So if you are not taking up a lottery, maybe you can't do that. If you want to be a millionaire, you need to give yourself a little time. You need to work hard on it. If you want to establish yourself as a brand, you cannot do it overnight. You need to give yourself a few months, work on that strategy, and then you can do that. Ask yourself certain questions. What do I want to accomplish? Be very specific. Be measurable. How will I know when it is accomplished? Attainable goal. How realistic is that goal based on my workload and resources? Realistic. Does it align with our overall priorities? Time bound. What is my target date? Then comes, once you have set your goals, you know what your priorities are, you're organized, then comes effective scheduling, which is planning to make the best use of your time. Set your schedule. Setting schedule will allow you to contribute to household chores at designated times as well. Plan your break in advance. It will help you to stay organized and create discipline. At the end of another busy day, even though you started early, you don't feel as if you have accomplished as if you haven't accomplished anything significant. Some people believe that you can schedule only appointments. No, there are other things also that occupy a portion of your time. Things like your morning routine, as I said, your teaching blocks, your office hours, other activities besides teaching. Create categories for activities that you need to schedule and list your activities under that category. Maybe you can set categories like personal, your assignments and the deadlines, your classes, going to the club, maybe other college related activities. Color coding also helps. It is all too easy to happen. Faced with endless meetings, frequent interruptions, and urgent last minute tasks that suddenly crop up, you can easily be busy all day without making any progress on high priority projects and goals. Make your schedule work. Draw an action plan. Leave time for fun. And something that very nicely describes is a pickle jar theory. So I want to show the video for that. I hope these points are clear. Realistic estimate, the best use of time, and unexpected jobs. And please don't overcommit yourself. So for this, there is a beautiful movie, a small movie. Ms. Meenakshi, may I request you to please play this video?
Yes, ma'am. Just give me a moment.
Yeah. I can verbally explain, but this is a beautifully described here. This basically shows that think carefully about which task you should get into your work schedule.
We all have this one life to live. A fleeting shadow amongst all that exists in this vast universe. We have the ability to accomplish anything, truly anything, if we use our time.
Audio is not there.
Audio is not there?
I think other participants.
Ma'am.
We can listen.
It is there, but it's
Okay.
not clear.
Okay. So, shall we resume with the video?
Yes, ma'am. Audio is
Ma'am,
clear
one,
in the video.
Okay, maybe if somebody has any problem, then maybe it is network problem on their side only, if others can listen.
Is this jar full? Is it full now? And how about now? Is the jar full now?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Now, I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. Golf balls are the important things, your family, your friends, your health, and your passions. The pebbles are the other important things, your car, your job, your home. The sand is everything else. It's just the small stuff. Now, if you put the sand in the jar first, you won't have room for the pebbles or the golf balls. The same is true in life. If you spend all your energy and your time on the small stuff, you won't have time for all the really important things that matter to you. Pay attention to the things that are critical to your happiness. Take care of the golf balls first, the really important things. Set your priorities, because everything else is just sand. Yes?
Professor, what does the beer represent?
I'm glad you asked. It goes to show that no matter how full your life may seem to be, there's always room for a couple of beers with a friend.
Okay, was that self-explanatory? I hope everybody understood it. Basically, life is all about a small bottle with us where we need to fill in so many things. So what if we cannot fill in the sand first, because otherwise that jar or the bottle will get filled in with the sand only. There won't be any place for the next thing. So we need to fill things in our life according to our priorities, the bigger things first and the smaller things later on. So another thing is that while scheduling your tasks, you should schedule the right thing at the right time. There should be, suppose there is another video, ma'am, to play. Okay.
I was
Ma'am.
unable to download the.
Yes, ma'am. I am just read about it. There are certain important tasks for the right time of the day. Some people
I'm
like
sorry to interrupt you, Namrata ma'am, but your screen sharing has ended. So you need to share screen again if you are sharing PPT.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, it says sharing.
नम्रता मैम पीपीटी वाली विंडो से को एक बार मिनिमाइज करके देखो, उसमें शेयर वाली ऑप्शन नहीं है, मतलब यू हैव नॉट शेयर द कंटेंट.
1 second, ma'am. Is it better now? Is it
Right,
okay?
right. Yes, ma'am, we can see
Okay.
now.
Let me continue. So we just saw the movie on when to prioritize, how to prioritize things, and how to schedule. So now, how to schedule important tasks for the right time of the day. I'll just play this. Our energy levels fall and rise throughout the day, but how to be productive when you're rushing, rushing, rushing? Some people like to work in the mornings, or some people work late nights. They are more efficient that way. Just analyze your work. Try to put works in separate categories. The more important things, put them where when you just have maximum productive. You should know what your obstacles are, things that stop you. Sometimes you have to just go with the flow. You have to allocate work to your timings. Leave your highest concentration times for your important jobs. Remember to work according to your natural cycle. As you know, some people like to work late nights. Some students study very late in the night. They can sit up all night. But whereas others, they get up early morning and do it. Same is with people who want to write papers and everything. They will get up early morning. In the morning, maybe everybody is doing something. They are getting into the way. So it is that. So next comes managing interruptions. With work from home, this is a very big problem because we are busy with work every day. So one thing about this is that we need to set up a very dedicated space for ourselves to be productive and focus. Whenever you are working, you have your own room, your own desk where you can place your thing, and people also know, everybody in the house, that this is your work time. They won't come and disturb you. So dedicated space will also inspire and motivate you. And once you find out that the space is shut, the door is shut to all potential distractions. You will not get up frequently. You will not keep checking phone all the time. You know that this is your work time and you have to complete it. Another thing is that we need to avoid time wasters. There are so many time wasters that are there which help us lose our time. Ma'am, are you able to see my PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I have just grouped time wasters broadly into these 6 categories. They are social media distractions, your emails, lack of prioritization, procrastination, unproductive meetings, and water cooler conversations. These are robbing us of our productivity. So the first thing is the social media distraction. That is the biggest thing with our smartphones always in our hands. Unfortunately, actually, we always say that we are short of time, but have you realized you're never short of time to watch your favorite Netflix shows? You always get time for your FB, for WhatsApp. But you know, these time wasters, these are so tempting. When the phone is near you, every notification pops up and you are tempted to check all your WhatsApp messages and FB comments. So you spend hours on uploading new posts, commenting, heavy conversations, or simply scrolling your feed. And unless your work involves social media management, You don't have to waste endless hours on social accounts, especially your work timings. When your attention gets diverted from an important task, it will be harder for you to regain that chain of thought, which leads to more time wastage. Now, how to steer clear of this social media distraction? So one important thing is set a specific time during the day when you log into your accounts. This way, you are taking a short break also, maybe after work hours, you set aside certain time, and then this will not interfere with your work. Constantly checking your emails and WhatsApp. With WhatsApp, your chat starts and you don't know how it will end. A study published by Harvard Business School says that most of us spend about 28% of our time reading and answering our emails. And that is equivalent to losing about 2.6 hours of our precious work time just to emails. Some emails are important, but majority of them aren't. And mostly the emails, especially the important ones, they do have a subject on written on top. So that helps you what is important. While going through your inbox waste time, it also leads to waste time on other tasks also. So when you check your inbox, you're diverting your attention away from whatever else you were doing. And when you eventually get back to the task later, it's going to take an extra hour to get back in the right frame of mind or to be at your productive best. So set aside your time, maybe every morning or in the evening, you have set, say, no longer than 30 minutes to address your emails. And additionally, there are a lot of emails that are there that come to you because you have subscribed to these various sites. Please unsubscribe them because they will clutter your inbox. And whenever there are such mails, you do get tempted to see them. Next is the lack of prioritization. So your to-do list can have several tasks that need your attention. However, if you don't prioritize the right task, you could waste precious minutes doing tasks that aren't really important, even if you know what you need to accomplish. Most of us waste time due to poor prioritization, doing tasks that make us feel busy without actually helping us to make any headway. This makes it a huge waster of time, especially for multitasking individuals. Moreover, you could get confused about what's actually urgent without clear priorities, especially if you have multiple large tasks or projects. And multitasking. See, women especially are known for multitasking. But today, it's better to do one task at a time. It occupies 20% less of your time. So do better to do one thing at a time. There are several ways to prioritize work. Make it a habit to sit down and plan ahead. Be it for the next day or the entire week, as I told you, have a task list. Open your notepad and jot down what task you have to do, or have a board on your table or a calendar. You can even break them down into small parts that it will be easier to do. So if you have planned one day ahead, it will be easier once you start your next day. Procrastination. We'll all have some tasks that we either find them too difficult to tackle or simply just don't want to do them now, and we keep postponing them. An average person keeps postponing it until it becomes undeniably urgent. A common issue that is there. Procrastinating any task never helps. Just because you push the task to another time or day doesn't really make the task disappear. It is still there waiting for you to complete it. If you procrastinate over a task for a longer period or extended period, you become demotivating, leading to reduced productivity, and it builds up that pressure on your mind. I tell you a very simple story that I used to tell my child when he was small. Kal kar lenge, kal kar lenge. So there was a king who had a friend who was very poor, from a very weak background. So the king used to tell him, why don't you start working and improve your financial status? So he always used to say, I'll do it tomorrow, or mujhe samajh nahi aata what I have to do. I really cannot understand what I can work on. So one day the king told him, fine, you see, I don't like it this way when you're suffering, when you're in such status. I'm your friend. So from my treasury, you take whatever you want because you're such a dear friend to me. Till sunset, just take whatever you want from my treasury, as much as you want. So he feels so overjoyed without working. He was a lazy person, so he's able to get the money. So he says that will make all my life easier, keeps thinking about it and starts imagining. So he runs back home to his wife and tells her that this is what the king has said and that my dear friend. So wife said, yes, that's a good idea. You must go and get the thing. So he says, my dear, I am thinking that I won't be able to come back once I'm busy. So better give me some food. Give me some food so that my stomach is full and I don't feel hungry and I can work better on filling up my bags. So she gives him some food. After easy, because he feels there is so much time, there is a whole day to gather that money. So bade aram se he has his food, taking his own sweet time, and he eats a lot of it that I won't be able to come back. So after having food, he really feels very heavy in the stomach, and he says, let me have a short nap, let me relax, and I'll be more energized to go. So he goes to bed and sleeps, and instead of catching up as a short nap, he spends maybe more than an hour sleeping, and suddenly he gets up. He said, yeah, now I am fresh and I am ready to go to the mahal to get the thing. So he carries with him few sacks with him and starts walking. So while he's walking, he's going at his own speed. He's in no hurry because he has enough of the day to do, and the things will be, the gold will be all there for him. So he goes very, very slowly through his whatever the route is. And on the way, he says, let me rest for a little while now because I'm really tired walking all this way. So he just sits down and just starts dreaming of what he'll do with the money and how much money he can fill up. And in his just dreaming about it, he spends maybe another hour or so. And finally, he says, okay, now he suddenly realizes that I must go now. He gets up and moves to the mahal. And by the time he reaches the mahal, it's already evening and the sun is going to set, and he's losing on that time. So this is what is procrastination, and then there is no time and there is no use of feeling guilty, and see, there are times when we have an assignment and we have a whole month to complete or maybe 2 months to complete, and we just said, oh, there is still time, we'll start. We spend up half of the time just thinking that, okay, we'll start, there is enough of it. And finally you realize there is just a week left and you haven't even started working on it or hardly done any work, and then that panic starts building up, stress. So how to avoid this procrastination? Learn to hit the bullet instead of postponing. Just take it right now. If you have a lot of time, just plan to do little parts of it every day or maybe a week. Set a simple achievable goal and commit to it. Create a schedule and set specific times for completing each task. Take breaks, refresh your mind. Try completing the most difficult task during your most productive hour. Break down large tasks into smaller subtasks and checklists. Minimize any non-work distractions to help you focus on the task. And things that you find difficult, which you want to postpone, take them head on. Take them now itself. And believe me, you will feel very happy. You will feel very, very happy once you do even a small portion of it. So next barrier is unproductive meetings. There are so many meetings, and let's face it, all work meetings are not very necessary. There are certain meetings which you have to just maybe share your projects with others, explain to them, and they end up wasting your time and also take the focus of other people, eating away their time. So one thing that is very important, very good that has happened in this lockdown, it has taught us to work virtually. So we end up having more time. We lose less time on physical meetings. We don't need to invite attendees, make arrangements for chai and snacks. And with virtual meetings, we can just clear it to them. With multiple WhatsApp groups and messagings and emails, we are able to convey what we want to. And just avoid unnecessary meetings. If you're confused whether to hold a meeting or not, just ask yourself, can I convey this information over a text message, email, or a phone call? If the answer is yes, then there's no need for scheduling a meeting to convey that information. Set a clear agenda and time limit. Whether it's a virtual team bonding session or to plan a certain project, decide what needs to be discussed well in advance. Then set a time limit and send out relevant material 30 minutes before the meeting so that other people are also prepared what the agenda is, what you need to discuss. And next is water cooler conversation. As this picture clears, you will be able to understand. Thankfully, with work from home, this problem is much less. Earlier, the coffee breaks and all used to get extended, but this problem now has shifted to phone calls. So people know that you're available. Anybody would call up anytime, and then you get lost. Hanji, kaise ho? And you start talking, and then you don't know where 20 minutes are gone, and that work time is gone. So I hope till now it is very clear, the time wasters. So shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
So another important thing to manage your time is effective communication. Taking charge of your communication is very important especially when you're working virtually with your team. To avoid mismatched expectations, check in timely with your time members without any hesitation. Effective communication is the key to avoid delays, conflicts, and misunderstandings. Of course, the communication needs to be clear, complete. It should be concise, very compact, and concrete. Say exactly what you want to say. You should be courteous, correct, and you should consider what you have said. Some tips for your communication. I hope these are clear. Be simple and always look for input from others and always look for feedback. Now, avoid delays. Be more effective, achieve more. As I told you, work tends to get spread across time, whatever time you give it. So you need to box your time well. I have to finish this time in this much, I have to finish this task in this much time. You should take control of your time. If you want something, they always say, if you want something done, ask a busy person to do it. The more things you do, the more you can do it. I simply, endorse this saying because it is true for many people. You know that this person can do this, so you approach that person for this. Busy people who get things done are usually the first to be asked to do it, something new or more, because they have a reputation for getting things done. Despite being extremely busy, the people who ask you already know this. You find it very flattering to be invited. You find it very flattering to be there on advisory board, consulting panels, and being involved in new things, working with different groups of people. Any new thing that comes up, you are called by the principal or the director or the HOD. But it doesn't mean that every invitation that you get, you should receive. There comes a point, a saturation point, or the point of diminishing returns, when you know that your participation is no longer effective and the quality of your work begins to suffer. You will be doing good for yourself and the people you work with if you allow yourself to scale back. You might be tempted to take on new challenges, new tasks and projects, but be very selective about them and set a limit on how much you can be involved with. Learn to say no. If you say yes to everything, you'll soon realize that your work has taken over your entire schedule to the detriment of your personal and family life. And the next skill that you need for time management is use technology. One of the very good things that this lockdown has brought us, the positive impact of this lockdown, that we have all learned to use technology so well. So many of us had smartphones, but we were hardly using them. We only used to accept phone calls, dial calls, and just WhatsApp, maybe at the most emails. So with this, we have started using them much more. We are now having our classes online, and we have all have learned how to use different platforms for this. We are communicating more with our students. We are able to deliver our lectures well. We all have virtual meetings. Then use of certain tools. Tools like the calendar we have. Then see, we all need use to technology which helps us to stay organized. Google and the products are very simple and easy to use. And one thing that is there, they beautifully sync with the smartphones. So Google Calendar is very good because all your you can schedule your event and tasks, share them with people. You can add a video call to future meetings. And there is this search feature on the calendar, which makes it super easy to locate the past events and the future events. Then you have the Gmails, which allows you to create multiple outgoing email addresses. On just one click of a button, you are able to send out the message to so many people. Plus, you are responding to the FAQs type of emails. You are having requests for recommendation letters, probably, and with computers, you can have one format, and probably that helps saves you time for retyping over and over again. Then there are Google Hangouts, which are now been converted to a Google Meet. You can schedule meetings with the faculty, staff, or students, which does away with the challenge no matter wherever you are. You have that access to a meeting or conference. Whenever possible, wherever we are located, we try to log on to the meeting. Just that we need a good broadband connection, maybe not even a webcam, but a microphone. We can have a virtual meeting. Then use of various tools and apps. Like you can search on the net. There are so many tools there possible, like Toggle Track, which helps with your work schedule. Then there is a to-do list. There is a time tree, which helps you manage your personal time. Remember the Milk app, which sets your reminder on various apps. There is Forest app. This I really like, because Forest app is the one when it is paid for a few. There are some free features, some are paid features for this. So whenever you want to focus on a task, you plant a virtual seed. Within the next 30 minutes, the seed grows into a virtual tree, but only if you stay focused on that task. If you falter your task, or check a website that you have previously blacklisted, your tree withers away and dies instantly. If you manage to stay focused on all your tasks, you cultivate an entire forest. So set up team building activities. If few of you people are working together, maybe you can have some games which are there, which help you to work better, bond better as a team. So this is more about skills that you have. So the main mistakes I would just like to go through is failing to do that you're not able to manage your time, is failing to do keep a to-do list, not setting up your personal goals, not prioritizing, failing to manage distractions, for which we did the time wasters, procrastination, taking on too much. You might be a micromanager, someone who insists on controlling or doing all of the work themselves, and you don't want to trust anyone else who can do it correctly. This can be a big problem. Please learn to delegate. Thriving on being busy. Some people get that adrenaline rush from being busy. They narrowly meet the deadlines. Then they just do the last minute work. They have that frantic race to the meeting. This is an addiction to busyness. It can lead you to a lot of stress. Try to slow down. Avoid multitasking. You are not taking sufficient breaks. It's nice to think that you can work for 8 to 10 hours when you're working on a deadline, but it's impossible for anyone to focus and stay productive for that high quality work without giving your brain some time to rest and challenge. It is not a time waster. These breaks provide you valuable downtime, which will enable you to think creatively and work effectively. Make sure that you give yourself enough time for lunch. You will not produce top quality work if you're hungry. Just grab a cup of coffee, or just sit, or maybe sit idly. Sometimes nothingness can be a very important tool for you. Another mistake is ineffectively scheduling your task. As we saw that morning time, just schedule high value work during your peak times, and low energy works like returning phone calls, checking emails during your downtime. The main step is to maintain making all this sustainable. Just try to see this through a month or at least 6 weeks before you see any fruits of your labor. Try to see the glitches you may experience and just refine and change. Use signals and markers to guard your time. Take a phone call while you're trying to analyze data or write a report can be a great energy sucker. Respond, not react. Finally, the tragedy of the task list is that they never end. You send the email, tick, then you get a reply with another question, which means another email and another task. With the use of mobile technology, rapid response rates and expectations of instant response have increased phenomenally. Think about making time to respond, not react. Sometimes you might have sent a reply and then you thought, oh, I should not have sent this, I could have sent this. And another thing, be very clear with your communication. Sometimes there are people who would say, I sent you WhatsApp message, why didn't you reply, this was urgent, they would call. I always say, message means I can look it up at any time. If there is something very urgent and very important, especially my family members, I just call me up, don't message, because I don't know when I will see. So just to sum it up, there is a small video for you to just sum up all that points now that the mind is busy. So Meenakshi ma'am, can you just play it because the voice will not be here?
Yes, ma'am. Just give me a moment again.
पता चल रहा है तुम क्या they will say. Well, that brings us to nearly the end. I hope the topic was clear. If anybody has any questions, you can ask me. This last video has summed it all up in a very brief way.
Participants can unmute them, or you can write in chat box if you have any questions. So
Does
if
this
there-
all seem very heavy to all?
No, ma'am, it was not heavy. No, not at all. And if you see the chat box, you will see the feedback. Very interesting session.
Okay, I try to make it interesting because this is a very relevant topic for everybody and for all age groups, and especially in our busy lives. Especially in this lockdown, I think time management is the most important thing that has come up.
Yes, ma'am. And your lecture was on time management, and you managed the time well. You completed it within the given time.
Yeah, I was little looking at my watch all the time. So last thing that I would just like to sum it up as time just flows. You can't hold on to it, but always leave a time to contemplate, to think. Give yourself time, few minutes in a day, maybe in the morning or in the evening or at both times, maybe just 5 to 10 minutes. Just think about it, what you did. You do two types of things that you do out of compulsion and other things because you like it. You do certain things for that external validation, and then you get trapped into it. And there are certain things that you do for yourself because that's that inkling feeling that you want to do. And you are always able to make some time for it. So, because they allow you to grow as a person in your own way. So, make the best use of time. Don't take it as a tension. It will reduce your stress. Just time block things. Set aside time for your things and live life beautifully. Life is very beautiful. Live happy. Keep smiling.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this wonderful session. And procrastination and the time that we waste on our smartphone are the biggest reason that we are always short of time. At least for me, these are the two biggest reasons. And so with this, we are closing the session, and I request Miss Sukhpreet Kaur Assistant Professor in the Department of Commerce and Management, GGDSD College, Chandigarh, to present the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Meenakshi ma'am, so much. So good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Sukrit Kaur, Assistant Professor, Commerce and Management Department. It gives me immense pleasure to present the vote of thanks to our worthy resource person, Ms. Namrata Singhania, Director, Nirdosh School for Mentally Challenged Children. Thank you, ma'am, for such an informative and interactive session. So time management is a very important skill to have. With effective time management skills, teachers indeed can increase their productivity. Thank you once again, ma'am, for enlightening us on this topic. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the organizers for this informative faculty development program, IQAC GGDSD Kediguna. I would like to end with a quote by Mother Teresa. Yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not yet come. We have only today, let us begin. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so